This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
How would you like to get more customers, make more profits, and have bigger breakthroughs? Get Doberman Dan's Profit Boosting Breakthroughs. Normally, this would cost you $98 per month, but right now, for listening to this show, he's giving you a free copy of his Doberman Dan letter. All you have to do is go to DobermanDan.com and sign up to get your free copy now.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
Yes, that's right. This is episode number 100 of the Off the Chain show with your man, Doberman Dan. Did you ever think that you'd get to 100, sir?
100 episodes. Wow. We should have a party.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. It's like business as usual. And then I look up, we're doing this recording. I'm like, damn, 100 episodes. We really should be celebrating, shouldn't we?
There's the me popping open a champagne bottle.
Aha, there it is. We're celebrating. So you guys have to have your own celebration. So, Dan, I got to ask you, after your first run at podcasting, did you think that your second run would get you to 100?
No, I didn't know if I make it that long. Well, you've made it exponentially easier. I mean, there was no way when the first podcast I launched that I would have been able to make it to 100 episodes. It's like we were talking about on the last show. When I launched that first podcast, I was doing all the 80% activities, all the stuff I'm not good at. But yet I was trying to do it all myself, line up guests, the technical stuff. It was just so much work. So there was no way I would have ever made it to 100 episodes. How many episodes did I make it through on that first one? I don't remember.
I think somewhere around 30.
That's what I thought. It's actually a miracle I made it through 30 because it took way more time than I expected. This time, second try with you has been so much easier.
Good. And one of the things, since now you have a body of work and you're starting to explore different ideas, I wanted to, before you jump into your thing, I just wanted to get with you on some of the feedback that you got. Let me look here on our episode plan. So it was episodes 92 and 93 with Dave Van Hoos, Make Money with Love. You got some interesting feedback that I just wanted to hear on the air, if you don't mind sharing.
I did get a lot of interesting feedback, and I'll sum it up. Basically, the feedback was that there's a lot of like really woo-woo information in woo-woo kind of podcasts, and then there's a lot of very pragmatic entrepreneur business podcasts, but there are very few people talking about, the spiritual journey in relation to your entrepreneurial journey. And so I got a lot of complimentary feedback about that. A lot of people really liked that I had Dave on to talk about that stuff. So that was exciting.
So here's one follow-up question, and I know you got a lot for us today, but when we were recording those shows, you were a little bit nervous about them. You were a little bit scared of what the feedback was going to be. And so wondering why you were scared of that feedback and how you feel now that you've actually gotten it out of the way and gotten it into people's earbuds.
Well, yeah, I was in the back of my mind. I mean, during the actual interview, I'm thinking, oh boy, we're going to hear from people on this one. And I didn't receive any negative comments. I'm sure there are some people who didn't like it, but that's cool. I have swung to extremes on both sides. In my younger years, I've gone to the extreme on the self-help / spiritual side, and I found that to be rather unhealthy. And then I swang? Is that the past tense of swing?
It is now.
I swung to the other the other extreme with just pure pragmatic, bullheaded, put your head down and darn near kill yourself to make progress into the thing. And that worked really well for me for a limited period of time. And then it was exhausting. And, so fairly recently, I've gone back to concentrating on that aspect of my life. And I'm reading some self-help stuff and some spiritual stuff. And I'm just, I'm excited about finding the balance because I think it all works together. I mean, this journey is about growing and becoming. So, when you combine them both, I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, but initially I was a little nervous about it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you got some good feedback there. And it was a little out there for what we usually do, but then it's also encouraging this far into the show, 2 years into the show, knowing that a little experiment paid off and that you could be a little crazier. So speaking of crazy, what do you have in store for us today, Dan? Imagine
this. Your job has just been eliminated. No matter how highfalutin it is, you're the CFO of yada yada enterprises or whatever it is. You're an attorney, or if you get one of them there highfalutin jobs, and it's just been terminated, and your only option for employment is hang out with the illegal Mexicans on the corner, waiting for the truck to come by and say, "Hey boys, I need a framer. I need a guy who can do plumbing, and I need an attorney." And so just the day before, you were a high-paid attorney at some Fortune 500 company, and now the only way you can feed your family is hanging out with the illegal Mexicans every day, hoping to get some sort of daily job. Well, so maybe you don't actually have to imagine it, and maybe it's not too far in the future, because welcome to the new quote-unquote gig economy. I'm talking about stuff like Uber, Elance, Fiverr, etc. This seems to be a trend, and millennials seem to be pretty thrilled with it, actually. And it's this: you don't have a traditional job with a company, nor do you really have a business. You just got a thing you do that you get gigs, daily gigs. It's one-time gigs. And I keep hearing people talk about this like it's a good thing. And maybe for some people it is, but here's my concern about this. When you go that route, well, first of all, you're scrounging for daily gigs, okay? You got to hustle to find gigs. There ain't no long-term nothing, honey. It's daily. It is the exact same thing as you hanging out with the illegal Mexicans waiting for the guy in the pickup truck to come by each day. And maybe this day, he needs a CFO. Yeah, I need a CFO today, or he needs somebody who can swing a hammer. And then for the next 7 days in a row, he doesn't need you. It's the same damn thing. Now, here's what concerns me about this. So not only are you scrounging for daily gigs, now you're competing against the lowest bidder. So the next attorney who gets laid off and is down there with you, hanging out with the illegal Mexicans on the corner, and the dude comes by in the pickup truck who chews tobacco and spits it. "I need an attorney today." Ding! And all of a sudden the other guy's like, "I'll do it for half what he said he'd do it for." And boom, that dude gets your gig. So it concerns me, all the people who are planning to live on this new gig economy. I just got to tell you, I'd rather see you learn a skill that doesn't put you in that category. A skill where you don't have to scrounge for daily gigs and you don't have to compete against the lowest bidder. And also a skill that won't be obsolete. Like, who knows? You're an SEO guy. That could become obsolete overnight. You do Facebook ads. Listen, we're really damn close to that becoming obsolete. They don't want your ads. Facebook, it's going to go the way of Google. Trust me on this. This is a sidetrack, Jonathan. Facebook doesn't want these online marketers, they don't want direct response people who can track progress. They want image advertisers. They want the big Fortune 500 companies. That's the business they want. They're doing a lot of stuff to make it an ad platform that the kitchen table entrepreneurs can't use. So you do Facebook ads, you're just around the corner from becoming obsolete. You'll want to know the best skill I think you can start learning now to make sure you're not relegated to struggling in this new gig economy.
Yes, please.
It's by the way, it's what manners. That's so nice. You said please. It's also the best skill you can invest in learning if you own a business. In fact, any business, regardless of what that business is. It's the skill of converting prospects into buyers. Now, my preference is to do this with sales copy, with words in an email, on a website, words in a script for a webinar, words on a piece of paper. That's my preference because, I'm a geeky introvert that would rather stay at home and be with his dog than people. But also, for very pragmatic reasons, it's a one-to-many way of converting prospects into buyers. Even one to millions instead of just one-to-one, as if you do it in person. So I'm going to give you a big ass secret to doing this that many people don't know. And if you prefer to do this, if you prefer to learn the skill of converting prospects into buyers, and you prefer to do it via copy, I should say, sales copy, I'm going to give you the big ass copywriting secret that many people don't know. If you're not a copywriter, you just own a business that needs to sell stuff, I think you should pay particular attention. And that is this. You can make millions with half-assed, cranked out in only a few hours copy. If, there's a caveat, if you get just one thing right. Can you guess what that is, Joe Nathan?
Do you really want me to guess? Is that rhetorical?
Guess. Go ahead, guess.
I'm going to guess your market.
That's close. And yeah, it's close enough that I'll check with our judges. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, the judges say they'll give it to you. So my answer was the big idea. But you know what? You can't nail the big idea without knowing your market. So yeah, I'm giving you that one. Nail the big idea. Once you nail that, and then coming up with the rest of your copy is pretty much smooth sailing. Miss your mark with the big idea, and you could resurrect Gene Schwartz, Gary Halbert, David Ogilvy. We could have a seance with those dead guys with Gary Benzavanga and Clayton Makepeace and Dan Kennedy. And all those guys could come up with a copy that just wouldn't sell much of anything. So make no mistake about it. If you choose to learn this skill of converting prospects into buyers, coming up with a big idea, it's key. It's the hardest part of creating copy that converts like crazy, but it's the key part you have to get right. Once you've gotten that right, I've made a lot of money with half-assed, cranked out in the final hour at the last minute copy when my back was to the wall and I needed to make money. And coming up with that big idea is really hard until now. I've got a proven system that anybody can use. Even if you can barely write a shopping list, that you can totally nail the perfect big idea for your audience. Then you can just go ahead and bang out mediocre copy in an afternoon, and make yourself a lot of cashola. I know, I've done it.
Are you sure you should be giving this away on the show? I almost feel like it's too valuable.
It probably is, but I'll give a portion of it away. And so the system for doing this is what I like to call the JSTDT system. Jonathan's probably so tired of hearing this, right?
I love that.
JSTDT stands for just sell the damn thing. If you're serious about making money online, this is crucial. You simply must know this. Now, I've been talking about this a lot with the knights in my market at Camelot. If you're not a knight, you probably should be. If you're serious about making a lot of money online, and you can find out about that at marketingcamelot.com. So why JSTDT? Well, first of all, marketing online has changed a lot, and it seems to change faster and faster. Yet I'm seeing a lot of people, most people in like our little world, info marketing and stuff like that, they're still following the old obsolete model. It worked great like 2004. It ain't working now. With JSTDT, you'll know the new model, the one working right now. It's the one that has always worked and will continue to work regardless of any changes online, because it's based on human nature. It's not flavor of the month online marketing fads. When you take this approach to your business, the JSTDT, just sell the damn thing, you can build a successful business without having to go through the decades long learning curve to become an A-list copywriter, because it all just starts with getting the big idea right. When you get that right and you make an offer, even with half-assed copy, it's going to work. In fact, just yesterday, I had a conversation with Ryan McGrath, an A-list copywriter with Agora Financial. And he has written, I think two of their most successful back-end promotions in the past 2 years, I guess. And what we were talking about is it takes so long to figure out the big idea, but he won't write a word of copy until he gets that big idea. Once the big idea is right, that idea that resonates with your audience, and it's something that they want, then nailing the rest of the copy is just so much easier. And when you do that, and you know what your market wants, and you just sell the damn thing, there's no need to sneak up on people. There's no need to get involved in endless free content, building a list of freebie seekers who, at this point in the online marketing model, it's just damn near worthless. Like I said, I was working 10 years ago. It ain't working now. Even the biggest clients I have with extremely deep pockets, they abandon that model because they can't make it work, even with as much money as they have. When you get the offer right and get the big idea right, you can just sell the damn thing and attract the cream of the crop, the buyers. So here's, I guess if I had to give you a takeaway today, Joe Nathan, it would be nail the big idea and use JSTDT, and you'll never become a victim of the gig economy. You'll have a stable business if you want your own business. If you don't want your own business, you will be in high demand and can demand high fees from other people who want you to do that for them. And again, I just gave you an overview, but I'm speaking a lot about this new model, the JSTDT model, in my monthly newsletter, my membership site. And you can get all the details about that at marketingcamelot.com.
Boom. And just in case you guys are looking for it, episode number 86 was where we went in depth about the JSTDT model. So you can go back and find that in our catalog. So Dan, what do you have coming up for next time?
Next time, I'm going to talk about my favorite mentors.
That should be interesting. All right, looking forward to that. Another Off the Chain show is in the can. We will be back in your heads next time with some more goodness. Thanks for listening, and remember, if you want to create rivers of revenue from your existing customers, then the next thing you need to do is go to DobermanDan.com. He's given away a free copy of his $98 per month Doberman Dan letter just for listening to the show. Go to DobermanDan.com now and sign up for your free issue.
This is the podcastfactory.com.